Hi, everyone. Dr. Philip Ovadia here from iFixHearts, and really excited to have with me today Krisna Hanks, my Director of Employee Wellness. And we wanted to talk about the employee wellness programs that we offer at iFixHearts, talk about what they are, what makes them unique, and really introduce some groundbreaking concepts around employee wellness that we are putting into practice. So, welcome, Krisna. Why don't we start with giving a little bit of your background? What has led to your interest in employee wellness?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm super excited about my role as Director of Employee Wellness for our team. And just a brief background, actually, was very interesting. I've been in the coaching sphere a long time, but some of the original work that I did was back in the ancient days when we called worksite wellness corporate fitness, because it was really geared towards just getting people moving in the workplace. So that's back in the dark ages of the 80s, if anyone can remember that, and was sort of my first work as a personal trainer. I became involved with, while living in New York City, worked for a corporation called Bloomingdale's, the big retail place, worked with their upper management staff, the owners, Marvin and Lee Traub. And that segued my career really into coaching, seeing the benefits of getting people moving. And that was really their earliest focus. There have been many years that have come in between that. Worksite wellness has grown into very extensive work trying to help employees become healthier. I did a lot of myself executive coaching, and now working with your team in the metabolic coaching sector. And that's all kind of evolved as we've seen what employees need, what individuals need, and how we can best support them.
You know, the workplace perhaps has always been more associated with negative effects that it can have on health. Many people, of course, are aware of, the effects of stress that oftentimes can be centered at work, perhaps some of the habits that happen at work that may not be positive, sitting around for long periods of time, or dangerous work environments. Talk about what you've seen as to how the workplace can positively benefit people's health, and what some of the unique advantages of doing wellness centered around the workplace might be.
Great question. And something I was just thinking about this morning. If you think about that, we have about plus or minus 112 waking hours in a week. And if we're working a 40-hour week, we're about 36% of our waking hours are at work. So it is a big chunk of our time. And certainly the workplace is known for increasing stress, lack of good communication skills, not allowing individuals to have a good work-life balance. So worksite wellness, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're really focused on just fitness and, seeing if they could get more activity in the day, because of what you said can be very sedentary, especially with all our technology, Zoom calls. So we've had to evolve in the worksite wellness, employee wellness programs to saying, okay, there's more than just the helping get people moving. We need to also support them, as you say, in ways to reduce their stress. Also talking to them about nutrition that can promote better health. And in the workplace, means giving them better options. It's one thing to educate and say, okay, here's some great tools that if you really want to have a healthy lifestyle, but we don't offer those at work, sorry. So encouraging and working with employees, even on simple employers, rather, on simple things like encouraging individuals to take their breaks, to not sit and have lunch at their computer, to get up and maybe having potlucks at lunch where we bring in real food. Also giving them ways to be able to access maybe things that they need outside of the workplace. Maybe they need a mentor or someone to help them with their communication skills, or they're struggling with a family situation. They might need some outside mental help. And I think that's where employee wellness can really come in, is in helping the individual fill in the gaps, not just give them a one-sheet piece of paper, this is what you need to do.
Yeah, I think those are all great points. For me, one of the things that's most attractive about the workplace as a place to focus on wellness is the group environment that can be fostered. It can sort of be a built-in support group if the workplace is promoting these habits, and if a lot of people at the workplace are focused on improving their wellness, that group environment we have found can really accelerate things and can really help support others that might be struggling around some of these wellness concepts.
Yeah, I just was going to add to that 100%, because in the coaching field, there's a lot, not just with individual coaching, but what we call peer-to-peer coaching, small groups, things that help people feel they have a community, that they're not alone, whether they're struggling themselves with trying to find a good work-life balance, or maybe they would like to quit smoking or quit sugar, for instance. Having peer-to-peer and being able to feel supported is a real key to any health endeavor, really.
Now, a lot of workplaces have something they call a wellness program, but we've seen how a lot of those programs really don't go a long way or don't do a lot to support individual wellness. Maybe talk about, since you do have this long history with employee wellness, what some of the things that you've seen that don't work well, and contrast that with our approach to workplace wellness.
That is a really fun question for me too, especially. I would say, first and foremost, within the last, let's say, 20 years or so, since the employee wellness programs really exploded, they have really embraced, and I think sadly, in my opinion, what I call the disease management model. And in fact, many insurance companies are the people who run employee wellness programs for companies or corporations. It's a little part of their package of their employee benefits, but run by the insurance company. And this, sadly, is just disease management. It is not getting at the root cause. And if we believe the figures that say 12% of US adults or 7% of US adults have poor metabolic health, we're missing out on a whole large population. So I think adopting that model has not been successful. I think a lot of it also stems around there was this idea of doing a lot of what I would call sort of quick fixes. Maybe they would do a weight loss challenge, or they would do a step challenge. Things might be fun, and those are not long-term sustainable solutions to real health issues. And in fact, people might even just try to game the system just to win the prize on that. Maybe even, kind of do a starvation diet for a few days, which enable them to lose weight. And I think the third piece really missing from employee wellness programs is there's little to no education on metabolic health. There's a lot of attention played to weight, to BMI, to total cholesterol as one marker, not even looking at other markers. And I think that this has sadly turned a lot of employees negatively towards the program, and lack of participation, saying it's the same old year after year. In fact, I'd even just share an anecdote. Last year or a few years ago, I was working for a corporation, and in order to take the nutrition program for the company, you had to actually be diabetic. You couldn't be healthy. So it's focused only on individuals who are trying to manage a disease, as opposed to looking at the root cause of many of our chronic illnesses.
Yes, I think, having a more comprehensive approach, having a more proactive approach to health, very key differentiator between what I see as successful wellness programs and unsuccessful wellness programs. And like you said, much of what gets put out there as employee wellness programs are actually just sort of the same repackaged disease management programs, as opposed to really promoting wellness and proactive approaches to health. One of the challenges I think, again, that always exists maybe around this is maybe there's a sort of a we'll say, between, what the employee sees as the motivation for participating in these programs and what the employer sees as a motivation for participation in these programs. So what are some good ways that you've seen that can foster engagement and participation in these employee wellness programs?
Yeah, again, great question. First and foremost, I have to say, if you're not leading by example, it's very hard to want and see that other people want to join the team of doing the same. So we know it's one of the standard practices in official employee wellness program is garner leadership support. I like to say leadership support is as good as it's demonstrated. So having those people also engage in the program. Most of the time, a lot of employees think the only reason their employer offers a wellness program is they want to save on their insurance costs. And yes, that's true. And I think that employers should be honest about that. We do want to try to minimize our healthcare expenditures, especially those companies who are self-insured. That said, we're also here to support you in leading a healthy and vibrant life, which hopefully means you're going to be spending a lot more time with your friends and your family as opposed to being sick. So it's a shared responsibility. I think that comes, again, first by leading with actions. And I think also that communication is one of the hot button topics in any corporation, with or without an employee wellness program. There's a lack of transparency. There's a lack of really sharing with what it is you're hoping to achieve with a program, and being able to speak to all of your employees in a manner that resonates with them, that it's not a top-down approach, but it's really a shared responsibility. I think those are some of the key pieces. And also making sure that you have things within your program that are appropriate for your employee population, not just something that some insurance vendors said, this is what we think is employee wellness. That may not fit if you're a financial company, or if you're an agricultural company, or if you're a manufacturing company, and really getting the pieces that are important to your population. And I think those are where a lot of companies miss the mark, not listening to their employees, but also not being transparent in the communication of where they'd like to go.
Yeah. And, related to that, one of the things that I think it's important for us to touch on is maybe what some of the motivations, what are some of the benefits that employers can see beyond just the obvious bottom line impact. So, if you keep your employees healthier, that's going to help your bottom line in reducing the sort of direct cost, your insurance cost and, whatever direct cost you as the employer might have for your employees' health. But there are some indirect benefits as well. And so what are some of those indirect benefits that you see come out of employee wellness programs, workplace wellness programs, some of those indirect benefits to the employer that they might want to keep in mind and focus on as well?
And I think even when we talk about it on the individual level, right, you've got quantitative markers and qualitative markers, and those indirect always seem like the qualitative ones from my perception, that what we see in those programs that are really well run, managed, and working with hand in hand with both the employees and the employers, first and foremost is productivity. We know if people are low on energy, they're not getting fueled properly, they're not having time to take mental breaks, the productivity drops. So we increase in energy levels. Things like enthusiasm. It's hard to be enthusiastic if your health is on the line. So the productivity piece is a big piece. Loyalty, it's very interesting. A lot of different people have looked into this, that when over time people feel supported and feel that you're helping them as well as their family and trying to assist them in doing the best that they possibly can be, they tend to stick around a little bit more. And then by residual, they're sort of the mentors then for the new people coming in that are helping promote the wellness program, but also just the company in general, that they start to want to be the voice of the program. And then there's this, additional pieces of things like creativity. We've seen also little startups come out of other groups within the company that were, originally just getting together to be part of the wellness program, and then they sparked another little adventure in the company. So I think that there's more than just obviously improving your health markers. It's also trying to sort of up the game of the company, because there's a different level of health, there's a different level of energy, and there's a different level of creativity.
Yeah, I think for the employer, for the business owner, a well done workplace wellness program can really be a differentiator in the market. And if you're in a competitive hiring environment that so many businesses are today, and if you're struggling to retain your employees, having a well-run, comprehensive workplace wellness program can really differentiate you from your competitors, can really, as you said, foster that loyalty, foster that positive work environment that are going to attract people to your company and get them to stay long-term as well. So, before we wrap up, let's talk about some of the various ways, some of the various things that can be incorporated into a workplace wellness program, and maybe talk about some of the specifics as to what we have done at iFixHearts in the wellness programs that we've been running.
I think first and foremost, we have the expertise of you, Dr. Ovadia. We have a heart surgeon. That is something that I don't think any other employee wellness program could begin to offer. Such expertise, not only in heart health, but metabolic health, and truly a unique individual overseeing what we're doing, giving us input in the workplace itself, on the individual work. I think also you've coupled and got together an incredible team of experts, those, from Coach Jen, who is a lifetime as a diabetes specialist. Cherish, who works in your practice, is also a certified coach and has a lot of insight on that. And a nurse practitioner, Lisa Simmons. So we've got an incredible talented team putting input, looking at the programs. I think also some things that really differentiate ourselves is we go on site. We've been on site in a factory in Pennsylvania, interacting with the employees, many wellness programs, and I've looked at hundreds of them, especially when I was working at the CDC. It's an online program often, and it's very passive. You complete the lectures. Ours are not passive. We are there on site, encouraging employees, giving them good information, practical tools, and interactive sessions so that they can tap into why they want to be healthy. Because it's one thing for us to say, oh, these are some good things you do, but each individual has to find their own passion and their own why they want to be healthy. I think our insights on going to the root cause of what is metabolic health, really looking at those metabolic health markers, working with them on their labs, but then giving them practical tools to, okay, so you've got a number that's not looking optimal. What could you actually actively do to change that? We're very hands-on and we're unique, I think, in providing real metabolic health programs and not a disease management model.
Yeah, I think that very much touches on some of the unique things that we've been able to incorporate, and that combination of medical care, medical knowledge with the coaching really can bring this together and make it a comprehensive and effective program. So, for any business owners, employers, management people that are seeing this and are interested in working with us on a wellness program, how do they get in touch with us?
They can always send an email to team@iFixHearts.com, and one of us will respond to that rapidly. I would also encourage them to look at our wellness page on the iFixHearts.com website and download our white paper. We have a recent white paper out on sedentary behavior in the workplace, and that is free to sort of check out what we're doing in a little more in depth, and encourage your employees to invest in their health.
Great, Chris. Now, thank you for taking some time to dig a little deeper into what workplace wellness is and can be, what we believe it should be. And I certainly encourage anyone that's watching this, whether you're an employee, to bring this as an idea to your employer, or if you are an employer, a business owner, an executive, this is really a great way to show your team how valuable they are to you. And it really can provide a very significant positive return on investment. So from the team here at iFixHearts, thank you for watching, and we look forward to working with you and your team.